Your attention is by far the most valuable resource you have. As far as women are concerned, your attention is the most important social currency you can pay them. I don't think I'd be saying anything crazy if I say that women have been documented to be willing to do whatever it takes to get attention, especially the attention of certain kinds of men. But why though? Why do women go crazy for attention? Why do women see it as such a valuable resource? And is there a scientific reason for this? We're going to be discussing why women are so validation motivated and attention driven, and we're going to be basing it all in evolutionary psychology. Because of the nature of this video, you might want to save this video for later, just in case it gets taken down. Before we get into this properly, one thing you need to keep in mind is that human beings are a collaborative species, which means our survival as a species is heavily dependent on our ability to cooperate with each other. Back in caveman days, being forgotten by, left behind, or separated from your tribe was devastating, because without the help of other members of the tribe, your chances of survival plummet drastically. So in order to not be left behind, having someone else's attention from the group on you at all times was paramount. And that in itself creates an inextricable link between gaining attention from others and your chances of survival. This was especially true for the cave women, who couldn't rely on the superior size, strength, and speed of the cavemen for their survival. But that's just why women want attention in general. Let's talk about why women want attention from specific groups of men. Specifically, how their relationship with male attention has evolved over time. Back in the tail end of caveman days, the social contract was now in full effect. The cavemen employed their superior size, strength, speed, and spatial awareness to hunt for food and drag it back to the cave, and defend the cave from looming threats to human existence, while the cave women had and nurtured the offspring and focused more on gathering than hunting. Now, I call it a social contract because that is essentially what it was. These values were being exchanged among the cavemen and women. The cavemen would provide protection and provision. The cave woman would provide access to replication value and give the caveman the chance to pass his genes on to the next generation, aka baby making. I'm sure you can see room within this structure for certain men within the tribe to rise above all the other men within the same tribe as a result of higher competence, which in turn would make those men the most sought after by the cave women of their tribe because they can increase the chances of survival of those women significantly. Now, what are the laws of economics with regards to supply and demand? When the supply is low and the demand is high, the price goes up, right? The exact same thing happened to this specific group of highly competent cavemen. Because of their ability to significantly increase the chances of survival of any cave woman and her offspring, they became the most sought after by the cave women in their tribe. So the cave women came up with evolutionary strategies to compete for the attention of these highly sought after cavemen. And because of what we discussed before about the inextricable link between attention and survival, the objective became to extract as much attention from these highly competent males as possible. The more the better. This is why even today women place such a high premium on time spent, because all time is to women on an evolutionary level is a unit for measuring undivided attention. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to caveman days. The objective of the cave woman was very simple. Since the male's attention was essentially the channel or the vehicle to his resources, she would hold as much of his attention as possible, not just to extract his resources and all his survival replication value, SNR value, but also as a mate guarding tactic to ward off the possibility of competition that would come in to steal her position. On top of that, because of their superior observation powers, cave women began to notice a link between the competence level of a man within his tribe and the difficulty of actually acquiring his attention. If he was competent within his tribe, then there was more female competition for him, therefore more scarce attention. The less competent males weren't as sought after, so their attention was not as scarce. Now, moving past caveman days, over the years, women have had a more difficult time identifying actual competence and SNR value in males. And that's because we as humans have left our caves and now live in a more complex world. Competence in men is no longer an easy identifiable, tangible concept. It's more abstract these days. Back in caveman days, it wasn't hard for the cave woman to identify the most competent male in her tribe, because competence back then was a very simple and straightforward concept. Hunting and gathering, that's it. So all she had to do was look around and identify the guy that dragged in and slaughtered the biggest woolly mammoth, and boom. But over time, male competence has changed in meaning and in definition. So women have had to evolve their strategy to rely on identifying competence itself a lot less and switch over to more of a identifying the symptoms of competence type of strategy. Remember that thing we just talked about not too long ago? The thing that had a strong link with male competence in the tribes back in caveman days? What was the thing that cave women discovered closely followed highly competent cavemen within their tribe because of their desirability? Scarce attention. So just like that, scarce male attention became that much more valuable a currency to women. And now you see why women interact with attention the way they do and why they treat it like such a big deal. For example, have you ever seen women on the internet go up in arms about their boyfriends or husbands liking other women's pages and posts on Instagram? To us, it's not a big deal. You do it and then you forget about doing it the very next second. But to them, it's a massive deal. Why? Because on an evolutionary level, you just gave your attention and as a result, your resources to someone else, which jeopardizes her chances of survival. You see the point? It also explains why concepts like pre-selection also exist. Why does a girl start liking you when she knows other women like you? Because if you have female attention, that means that there's competition for your attention, which means your attention is scarce, which means there's a good chance you're a highly competent male in your tribe. It also explains the phenomena of a woman losing interest in you completely the moment you show interest in her, because you are willing to give her attention without making her work or compete for it. And if your attention is that easy to get, that means there's no competition for it. And if there's no competition for your attention, then you can't be one of those highly sought after, highly competent males. And like I said before, all your time is a unit of measurement for undivided attention. So the attention is the vehicle for your value, and the time is the method of distribution for your attention. This is why learning how to distribute your time is just about the most important skill you can learn when it comes to dealing with women. They will judge your value first by how you distribute your time, how much of it you give, and when you give it. If you want to learn more about learning this skill, I have an entire course called The Interview where I go over just that. Over a plethora of concepts that helps you to not only maximize your time, but increase her sense of urgency around you. You can hit this link right here and gain full access to the complete Interview 2.0, or you can get the light version by joining my private community. It's been Jace, your favorite scientist. With this information, what you must.